How's it going? Hope you guys are doing good. Thanks for tuning in again. Ton of new subscribers this weekend. I really appreciate it. I'm assuming a lot of you folks are coming from Casino Guitars, so thanks to Baxter for the shout out on one of the last videos that came out. I greatly appreciate it. Hope you're digging what you're seeing so far, and I hope that today's little chat will be helpful for some of you as well. So yeah, jumping right into it, I want to talk a little bit about something that's maybe a polarizing subject, I think, sometimes among guitarists, even though it probably should not be, and that is knowing your fretboard. Knowing the names of the notes on your fretboard, knowing where all the shapes and all the patterns are, shouldn't be polarizing at all. I mean, I don't see how it's a bad thing at all, but, I think some people get in their brain that, theory is sort of the enemy and it kills you from being creative, or it walls you in, or whatever. So I don't think that at all. I think the more you know, the better off you are. Just narrows down your choices sometimes. And once you know the rules, you can always break the rules. And most of the time, even when I think I'm breaking the rules, I find out later that there is a good explanation, like a theory explanation of what was going on. And it's just fun. So if you're like me and you think it's fun, if you want to know the fretboard better and you don't want to just sit around and go E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, because I don't think that is super helpful in sort of real world application. You have to do that so much and have it so ingrained so you have to think that way while you're playing. I'm going to show you one of the methods that I think helps you get it in your brain a lot easier and in a lot more sort of applicable way, a way you can apply it when you're actually playing. So let's talk a little bit about music and the major scale in general. And I don't want to make this too crazy long, but I'm also not in a hurry either. So we'll talk about what we need to talk about and we'll go from there. The major scale, if you don't know, is the whole do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. It's that thing that everyone's heard. It sounds like this. You probably know it in some shape on the guitar, just like you know your pentatonic scales. Maybe you know a G major scale from there as well if you add some of those notes back in. I've got a video that talks about a couple of these concepts we're going to talk about today. One that talks about sort of pentatonic versus diatonic scales and turning those pentatonic shapes into diatonic stuff. One that talks about sort of triads, and then, how to sort of tie that together with the pentatonic shapes on your fretboard, or diatonic shapes if you know how to switch them over. And then one that talks about the 5 pentatonic shapes and where they all come from. So maybe I'll put those in the description of this. They'll fill in some of the backstory on some of these things if you need it, or maybe even be a next step on some of these things. But they all sort of work together. Anyways, that being said, major scale. You probably maybe have played it like that. Maybe you play like this, like I played it in the beginning. Maybe you play it up here. I'm not too worried about us playing it guitar-y like that as a shape today. I'm more interested in letting it help us figure out where the notes are on our fretboard, what are the notes and the chords we're playing, and how to think about that in a way that we can sort of access it while we're playing, while you're improvising. Even if you haven't memorized a ton of sort of arpeggio shapes or triad shapes or whatever. So I'm going to start on the G that's on the D string. And it is the 5th fret. That's where I'm going to start. That's G. Now, if you didn't know in music, a brief overview, all these things you can Google them if they're way over your head, if you have no sort of basis in some of the theory stuff. This isn't supposed to be in depth for everything. So Google it if you need to. Ask questions in the comments. I'll try to get to them. But in music, only 7 letters. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Now, there's more sounds than that because we have sharps and flats. Don't want to get too much into that. Maybe at some point I'll do a video just about bare bones basic music theory. If you like that idea, put it in the comments. But You can have sharps, you can have flats. The pattern, though, is this. A whole step on your guitar is 2 frets. A half step is 1 fret. Whole step, half step. Whole step higher, that's a whole step lower. Half step higher, half step lower. We need to know that. That's important. Because I can start on any note, like this G on my 5th fret on the D string. And if I play a whole step, then another whole step, then a half step, whole, 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 half, and I get that. The do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do thing. That is a major scale. The pattern is 2 whole steps, a half step, 3 whole steps, and a half step. Get that in your brain. That's good to know. You literally, like I said, you can start anywhere. Whatever note you started on, that happened to be an E that I just played, I think. That was an E major scale. Anywhere you start and you do that pattern, those are the notes in a major scale. For the key of G, those notes happen to be G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G. Now, if you know anything about the Nashville numbers, and you're thinking about, the 1 chord, the 4 chord, the 5 chord, the 2, the 3, the 6, the minors, the 7 being a diminished chord, whatever. That's just the natural sort of diatonic harmony. If you know anything about that, then you know that typically the 1, 4, and 5 are major chords. In this case, that is G, C, and D. G, C, and D. The minor chords are typically A minor, B minor, E minor. That's it. And then the 7th one is an F sharp. It's a diminished chord. So we got 3 majors, 3 minors, and a diminished chord. How is this going to help me, you say? Well, first off, it's good to know that in every key, that the first chord, if everything is normal harmony, if it's harmonized just right. I had someone comment one time when I was doing a video on the Nashville numbers, and I said the 2 was, the 2 chord was usually a minor chord. They're like, oh, the 2 chord is always a minor chord. No, it's not. You could have like a secondary dominant in the key of G, which is an A7. So, exceptions to every rule. But like I said, there are always, usually there's theory rules that explain those things. Whatever. But yeah, in regular old harmony, 2 chord is minor. 1 chord, like I said, 1 chord, 4 chord, 5 chord, they're major. 2nd chord, 3rd chord, 6th chord, they are minor. The 7th chord would be a diminished chord. If you don't know about those chord types, what makes them what they are, I'm going to talk about it briefly, but go Google it, look it up. There's so many good videos and things you can read about that stuff. I learned most of this stuff as a, 18, 19, 20-year-old through friggin' like guitar magazines and books. But anyways, off my soapbox there. Yeah. So, there's where those notes are. 5th fret, all on the D string. 5th fret's the G. 6th fret's the A. 7th fret is the B. 8th fret is the C. 12th fret's the D. 14th fret is the E. 16th fret is the F sharp. 17, you're back to G again. There's your G major scale. There's the notes in order. Now, what we're going to do is we are going to use 2 different shapes. Well, 3 count the diminished chord. And then we're going to turn every one of those into a triad. Now, fun thing about the G major scale, and any major scale, by the way, they go in alphabetical order as it pertains to music. So like I said, only 7 letters. So after the G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, G is number 7. It's going to go back to A always. So we're going G, A, B, C, D, E. This happens to be an F sharp, G. And I just told you what those chords should be. They should be G major, A minor, B minor, C, D, E minor, F sharp diminished, back to G major. Now, those were not chords. Those were just 1 notes. For something to be a chord, you got to have at least 3 notes. We're going to fill that in. It's going to sound like this. out. However you want. Now, how is this going to help us learn the notes on the fretboard? You are probably saying to yourself right now, and it's taken me 11 minutes to get here. Sorry it took so long. But when you play the major scale and you're building these triads, these little chords with 3 notes in them, which are the basic form of all those chords, the G, the A minor, the B minor, the C, the D, the E minor, the F sharp diminished, it is always, because they're in thirds, they're stacked thirds, which means, like if I have a G, A is the second, B is the third. It's stacked thirds. It's every other note. G, skipping A, and then I have a B. Don't mean to be sort of giving you the finger there, but I kind of am. G, B, skipping C, and D. So I can't hold my fingers up that way. The G, the B, and the D. The G, B, and D. Those are our G chord. It's every other note. So if I start on A, and I'm still in my G major scale, I didn't go to A's major scale, I'm still in the G major scale, it's every other note. It's A, I'm skipping B, I'm going to C, skipping D, and I got an E. So A, C, and E, that happens to be an A minor chord. In our case, we're going to do it right here. Right in order. A, C, E. I picked this shape, this F shape, because it does them in order. So here's G, B, D. Now, as for the shapes, all of my major shapes are going to be my little F shape, like stair step. So in this case, I'm going from the D string, 5th fret, G string, 4th fret, B string, 3rd fret, 5, 5, 4, 3, G, B, D. There's my G, right? I'm going to come to A. The minor one is going to be almost the same, but minors are a flat third, so this note is going back to this note. The easiest way is to bar that, so it's going to be 7, 5, 5, A, skipping B, C, E. Come over to B. It's going to be B, skipping C, D, skipping E, and it's F sharp for the key of G. So B, D, F sharp. For a C chord, C, E, G. A D chord, D, F sharp, A. An E minor, E, G, B. My F sharp diminished is going to be F sharp. I'm skipping G, I got an A. Skipping B and got a C. Back to my G, B, D. So my G chord, 5th fret, G, B, D. Sliding over to the 7th fret on my A minor chord. A, C, E. B minor chord. It's on the 9th fret. 9, 7, 7. It is B, skipping C. So I got D. Skipping E, got F sharp. Slide over 1 fret to 10. That's my C. C, E, G. 2 frets over to D, 12th fret. D, F sharp, A. 2 frets more. Over to 14. That's an E. E, G, B. That's my E minor chord. F sharp is 16 right there. F sharp, A, C. F sharp diminished. G again, which is 17, 16, 15, G, B, D. Now, if that's all you learned, that would be a lot, right? Because now you know what are the notes in every single chord in the key of G. Well, not every single chord, but the basic chords in the key of G, the 7 basic chords in the key of G. You could think through, okay, gosh, what's in a D chord? Okay, D, F sharp, A. What's in a C chord? Okay, C, E, and G. And you know where those are in at least one spot on the neck. First off, those triads are super useful. Every one of those notes is in the key of G, so they're all useful for improvising. Now, here's though what I think is the next level of that. Wherever you are, and this is what I was doing when I started the video. Here's what I think the practice routine is. I think you play the G, and then you try to think in your brain. You can do this pentatonic or diatonic. So you can be thinking G major or just G major pentatonic. Where is the scale shape that falls on that chord? And it looks like this. Or if you did diatonic. Keep going. So, playing the chord, try to play a little lick out of that scale. Go to your next chord, your A minor. It's got a pentatonic shape right there too. Now, I didn't play A minor pentatonic. I'm still playing G major pentatonic, which is the same as E minor pentatonic. Go to my video about the 5 shapes if you need to know that. It happens to be 5-7, 5-7, 5-7, 4-7, 5-8, 5-7. The first one I did was 3-5-2, 5-2, 5-2, 4-3-5, 3-5. If you don't know the pentatonic yet, you probably don't need the diatonic until you get that down. So I just say the pentatonics to save time. That's that, right? And then go to your B minor. You got a shape here that's 7-10, 7-10, 7-9, 7-9, 8-10, 7-10. Play a lick. And you can visualize now when you're playing a lick there, what are your target notes?